Okay, we'll open the Tuesday, October 22nd Sewer Commissioners meeting. Elaine, aye.
Bill Watson, aye.
Brian Donahoe, aye.
This is a public hearing, so I'm going to read the notice. The Kingston Sewer Commission will hold a public hearing on October 29th, 2024, at 6:30 PM in room 200 of the Town Hall, 26 Evergreen Street, Kingston, to discuss and vote sewer rates, charges, fees, and civil penalties in sewer rules and regulations and amendments thereto. Copies of the drafts of these documents will be available for review at the Clerk's Office and Sewer Commission Office. If you have any questions, please call 781-585-4058.
I'd like to make a motion to open the public hearing as written.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Elaine, aye.
Bill,
Yeah.
aye.
Brian, aye.
Yeah, microphone.
Brian, aye.
Okay. We had a motion to open the public hearing, so I'll start the discussion. Then we will open it up for anybody in the public, online or in person, and then we'll bring it back, close the meeting, and then the board will decide the next action. We have two things on the, to discuss tonight. One is that the last meeting, we did vote the sewer use fee per gallon, and that's in our sewer rates, charges, fees, and civil penalties. It's the second page from the back. It's a chart, and it says annual per gallon sewer user fees now reads $14.03 per 1,000 gallons, which we voted at our last meeting. What we need to talk about for this tonight is the quarterly service charge. We had voted $42.50 to find out after the fact that from a billing perspective, the 50 cents would throw off calculations under certain circumstances as in closings on properties and things like that. So there's a suggestion that we mimic the water department amount of $42 for the quarterly service charge.
Will we take a vote on changing that right now, or do you want to wait till after we close the hearing?
We can close the hearing, I would think.
That's fine.
So that's a decision we'll make once we close the hearing. This seems,
I do have one question.
yes,
Looking back at the numbers I had, the 42, this is the change number, right?
yes.
Okay, and then put the sewer user rate.
It says,
I thought we had adjusted to make, come out even.
you,
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, just a point of clarification on the calculation we did. I thought, and this, maybe that we fixed this intermittently, but the 1403 was what we had before. I think we thought we did 14, there's my number here. 1415, so that the net result of lowering one was adjusted so that it would stay the same. So it's a matter of
to keep,
12 cents. In order to keep what we had originally voted on to be balanced, if you do the analysis on a typical household, that's how you would do it. So that would be, again, it's for discussion. I thought that would be 14.15 per thousand, and the 42, because we lowered it from what we had before.
right,
So this just compensated for, the end result we had would be the same.
okay. So that's the discussion for that. Marcia is online. Marcia, I don't know if you'd like to make any comments on any of this before we move on to the next section? Any response? Jeannie? Okay. Then the next thing we're going to talk about is the sewer rules and regulations. We need to discuss on page 28 of 39, section 6.1, betterment assessment. Right now, we have betterments assessed based on a project, and the way it's done is you take the total cost of the project, divided by those affected properties, and divided by the equivalent residential units, and then you get an amount per property based on their equivalent residential units, which is fine for the projects, which would work out for the leaching fields as well. But I did have some recommended language that says A separate betterment may be assessed to a property for capital improvements and/or the purchase of sewer capacity. Because I think we have three different things going on now. We have a project, which is, one is the leaching fields. But then we're talking about in the future, we may need to assess for capital improvements as a whole, and then to purchase sewer capacity. So I don't, we know that for a project, it's the cost of the project. For capital improvements, I'm going to think it would be the cost of the capital improvements. And then the purchase of sewer capacity may be a completely different amount than the other two amounts. So that's something for that I'm throwing out for discussion when we get to that.
Okay. We'll talk about it now, or?
I think we could have a little discussion just so anybody watching can understand.
So I think this makes a lot of sense, given where we're going forward now. We actually have three different components. We have all the people who were originally on the sewer. We have a betterment number for that. We have made a recommendation to increase that if they're not already paying a betterment, because the cost of living, everything has gone up in 20 years. So we had talked about, for example, 22 going up to 26,000. So that would be for things, people that are already on the sewer, haven't paid a betterment yet, but are part of the original area, okay? So that's one. This would address some of the streets that are, the main is right there. We waived going to those streets because either they had relatively new septic systems or no particular problem at 20 years ago. We were focusing on the capacity we had in the treatment plant then to get those people in, because that was the big public health threat. So we were able to logically make push it off. Some people chose to pay the betterment, but those who didn't, now we have a street-by-street kind of approach with this. I like that, actually.
Okay.
And then there's the other just incidental kinds of things where, but in any event, users or potential users pay for the extension of the sewer, the pump station, whatever pertinent capital costs associated with it will be paid for by a betterment for that project. So that's a good thing.
Okay. So, and then I have the exact same language for the connection fee. So, again, anybody at home want to comment on anything? If there's no comments and there's nobody here, physically here, I think we're, as a board, are probably ready to close the hearing and have a discussion.
Do we have, I know we discussed back and forth, and did we finally nail down the amount of the new betterment fee?
No. For what we're going to have, the odds are we're going to be assessing a betterment for the leaching fields.
Okay.
Because there's no other source of revenue for that. And we have upwards of 2,000 properties that are being vetted. There's like 400 more that just need to be vetted.
Okay.
So, I mean, this language describes how we would do it, so then we can come up with an amount after the
Okay.
fact.
For the new hookups.
Right.
In the future, okay.
I think just to add to that what you said, Elaine, the discussion we had with the selectmen a week ago is going to also address part of this betterment number and how we do it and what we assess, because it gets down to priorities and what is going to be our priority. And so there's an ongoing process, I guess is what I'm trying to say, before we get to any final number on that,
Yeah.
which is why we don't want to make a decision tonight on what it is. We're not going to fix it like we could before, because we had the whole project out in front of us. Now we're filling in. So just make that clear.
Okay.
Okay.
Like to make a motion to close the hearing?
I would like to make a motion to close the hearing, please.
Second that?
All in favor? Elaine, aye.
Bill, aye.
Brian?
Okay, so we'll bring it back to the board for discussion. Do we want to stay on the betterment since, I think the language is general enough. It says, a separate betterment may be assessed to a property for capital improvements and/or the purchase of sewer capacity. Is that,
Do you want to move that?
if you're both comfortable with that language. It gets us to the point that it's in our rules and regulations,
Yes,
and then we can expand on that when we have more detail.
okay, I'll second that.
No, you made the motion? You made the motion?
Elaine made.
All right, so, all right, then, let's go.
Okay,
She
and
read it.
that would also include the same language for the connection fee.
Yeah.
Okay,
Brian,
so,
Brian, do you want to make that motion and the adjustments to that?
The motion on the fee, on that connection fee?
Yeah.
Not the connection fee, but the,
betterment and connection fee.
I'll make the motion for the adjustment to, let me get the right language here, that the revised user rate,
Well,
That
this is for the betterment.
oh, this, just for the
Rather
betterment?
than me
Okay.
make the motion, if you can.
I'll make the motion then,
Okay.
that the separate betterment be assessed at,
All right, I'll second that.
All in favor? Elaine, aye?
I'll give you back to the page.
Brian, all right?
Usage fees.
Okay, did you say aye? Did you vote?
Yes,
Okay,
I'm sorry, aye.
okay. So now the user fees.
Okay,
And I know there was discussion about putting it to $14.15, but I think it came down to, since we had everybody physically here for that last meeting, that we'd leave it at the $14.03. That's how I vote.
I'm okay with that as well.
Okay, if that works, I mean, it's,
Yeah, I mean, we're going to,
Mathematically, it's a difference, $3,306
Okay.
over the whole scheme of things.
in a year,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Okay, so then we would just need to vote on the quarterly service charge, reducing it from our original vote of $42.50 to $42.
So I'll make a motion that we revise the base user fee to $42 per quarter moving forward.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Elaine, aye?
Brian, aye?
Bill, aye.
Any other discussion on anything related to this?
Just as far as the rollout and the timing on everything.
Yeah, so the original plan was effective November 1st, and it would appear on which bill, the March bill? Okay. And the water department's been assisting with that? Is that a true statement? With making those changes?
No, I'll be the one,
You're making the changes?
and I have a meeting tomorrow with Eunice, and we're just gonna have to go over everything. It was already in place, and seemed to be working fine.
In test, just to make sure it could be rolled out?
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
It won't be, you don't have to roll it out till March anyways, when they, I mean, this billing cycle.
The effective date in Eunice would be November 1st.
So we could
Right,
get
but-
that quarter.
But they won't see any new increases until the March bill comes
No,
out.
correct.
Perfect. That's what I was getting at.
Okay. Anything else? Bill? Brian?
Nope, I think that's it.
Make a
Okay.
motion to adjourn?
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Okay.
Aye.